Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Story on the Spot. I'm so glad to be back. This is kind of another maiden voyage for us after having been away for several months. I'm going to consider this season two, which I think makes it sound like more official.
It's legit.
It's totally legit, right? My name is Clark Huggins, creator of Reckless Deck, and we get to play with my good friend Jason Cicci today, who is an actor and a screenwriter and the co-creator of a platform called Make Your Show, which is service or an entity that helps actors and screenwriters become producers and produce their own work. Did I do that well? Is that a fairly
Yes, I think yes. We always say, Make Your Show is sort of an indie production company that offers resources to actors who want to make their own work. Very often, actors are not comfortable making their own work. They know they should be doing it, but they don't know where to begin. So we sort of help them in that journey in each different pocket. Like maybe there's someone who has an idea for a script. We might help them flesh that out to make it an actual screenplay. Or maybe they have no idea where to begin and they want some sort of asset for themselves in the form of a short film or an indie series that they can use to network and meet people and share their work with agents, casting directors, managers, the world at large, whatever it is. So we're just there to help facilitate whatever their goals may be.
And like how committed are they when they get in touch with you? Are they like, I'm ready? Or are they like, I'm not ready, but I at least like hold my hand for a while?
I would definitely say it varies.
Okay.
Some people come to us and they'll have an idea that they might be passionate about, but since they don't have the know-how as producers dealing with budgets and locations and things like that, then we might suggest gently that idea might not work. You're not going to have the money to make that idea happen, and sometimes the idea is so grandiose that it actually will go against the purpose that they want to make it, and they will get totally lost in this story. So we always urge our clients, and not only urge them to, but it's sort of a necessity to share with us what resources do you have.
Okay. All right.
So we sort of do it a little bit backwards, I think, because I've never been a person who likes to have 7 scripts sitting in my computer just waiting for that right moment where we're going to get it. That drives me crazy. So I'm a person of action when it comes to, my career. So I and my partner, John Kramer, we're very much of the school of why don't we do it in a way that it will actually get done.
Nice. Okay.
So, and I don't want to discourage anyone from working as big as they want. Go for it. But in my experience, I don't have like connections in my back pocket at big, huge production studios who are going to say, this is a fantastic idea. We're going to bankroll this idea. Who does that happen for? It's a very small percentage of people in the world, if any. So, and the people who come to us, the actors who come to us, are not people who have those connections. In fact, they're not people who have the experience they want at all. So we work with them to create a story that we can actually produce for them. If they purchase a production package from us, some people just want some creative guidance with a script or an idea or a character, and that's fantastic too. But we find that we have the most fun when we get to create an entire story for someone.
And do you have like production facilities and stuff like a shooting, like not really a studio? I guess a studio. Yeah, you have.
Not at all. All of our projects, our full production projects, are shot on location in locations that we search for or we have in our back pocket or our clients might have.
Oh, amazing!
We have a package of we have some equipment. We hire a sound person and a production assistant, and that is basically how we make our projects. These days, you don't need a lot of expensive equipment or necessarily a studio. And that's what I say when I'm sharing with you that how we do it is very mindful of how can we tell a great story that does not require a huge budget, grandiose locations, lots of special effects, and certainly not many other actors with them. I mean, we give them enough to engage in a story. But if you come to us and you want to feature yourself as an actor, we're going to make sure you're front and center in a
Amazing.
story that's probably complicated enough to act, but simple enough to produce.
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
That's how I did it for myself. I mean, I thought to myself, once these newfangled web series things came along, I'd been producing theater for a really long time and spending slash wasting a lot of money. You can give 16 performances, which nobody may ever come to see you in, and then once it's done, that's it. There's no way to see it.
Yes.
So,
yeah. It's just gone into the ether.
Yeah. So I created a story. Well, I created a character actually for myself, and we sort of have over the years, we work with actors. We get to know them a little bit, and we ask them, what do you think you do best as an actor? What's a character that you played that you nailed?
That is an interesting question. Wow.
And what was it about that character that you think you do well? So I asked this of myself. I mean, naturally, if I'm going to make a show for myself, I'm going to present what I do best or what I think I do best. And so, for example, with me, I'm a good comedic actor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good with language. I'm good with sarcasm, a little snarkiness, perhaps a little romance. So I tried to build all of this into this character that became the lead character of my show. And it was,
the first one you did was He's With Me, right?
He's With Me, which co-starred my business partner, now John Kramer, who's fantastic in it. And it was the greatest experience, not only because I got to finally write something that was on screen, produce it with collaborators, naturally. I hired a fantastic director who also was my director, my editor. He was imperative. His name was Sebastian Lacaze, who had already made his own show. So not only did I get experience all that, but taking the journey as an actor, playing the protagonist in a story is very different than playing the best friend who has like 3 lines in a scene, if you're lucky enough. Yeah, it's such a completely different animal. I was having fun doing those little supporting things in some student films and indie little films, but I wanted to know what it was like to lead the story as the actor. And then, so ironically, what happened to me is that I didn't care for it as much as I thought I would. I don't know, I really loved the making of all of it. And then in our second season, really writing to the actors that were so fantastic in our first season. So that's where the seed of my company came from. Because I was like, if I can do this for myself and open some doors for myself, then I can do that for other actors. And I've been doing it ever since.
It's interesting. I mean, there's a lot of excellent self-awareness there, because the thought of an actor actually thinking of other actors at all as anything other than, supporting players to their grand drama. So good for you.
Yeah, it was so empowering. I mean, that's what we tell the people. We don't like to call them clients, really. They become our collaborators.
Oh, that's great.
Like if you were to come to me and say, I want a show for myself, I want a short film that features me, then, naturally I know you, so I could probably say, oh, Jeff's good at this, and sorry, I should say Jeff Clark.
That's quite all right. Yeah, probably people will be confused by the fact that Clark is my middle name, and you know why I ended up actually starting to use my middle name, because
I don't actually
drove across country because I had to switch colleges.
Right.
Jason and I went to Syracuse together for 2 years, and I unfortunately could not return for my junior year. So I drove across country to finish my degree at UC Santa Cruz, California, and got there the summer beforehand, and got a job at a Kinko's Copies. That was like my job in college. And they said when I started, they're like, well, there's already 3 Jeffs working here, so we'll just call you Jeff 4. And I was like, fuck that. No. I did not just drive 3,000 miles to be called Jeff 4.
So you know what? Clark is such a great name anyway. It's more distinctive.
Thank you very much. It's been in the family for 100 years.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
Another reason to use it. But forgive me if I will always look at you and you are Jeff to me.
By all means.
So when we have actors that come to us, and some of them I know, some of them have worked with us on other projects or auditioned for us or something, and then they come and they say, well, what would you do for me? And then what it really becomes is, well, what are you looking to do? I mean, do you have a preference of yourself as a dramatic actor or a comedic actor? That's really the first place to start, because that will set the whole tone for what kind of story we're doing.
Interesting. Right. Because then again, you're just like, I have a good friend of mine, mentor and friend, Dan DeSantos, who's a really great illustrator and very influential illustrator in the sci-fi fantasy field. And he's a great teacher. And he said, he said this about the card deck series that I created. He's like, you can't think outside of the box until you put yourself in a box.
That's so true.
And it's like, if you don't do that, if you don't winnow down the possibilities, really you're just like staring into the void.
And then nothing
like
will ever get done.
everything. Yeah. And then it's sort of like looking at God in the face, like you burn your eyes out before you'll actually come up with a choice from having everything in front of you to choose from.
You have to have like some sort of come to Jesus moment about who you really are as an actor, as a storyteller, and be able to share that with people to help you build a story. So once that is determined, then we start thinking like, so what kinds of things do you do well? And even it could even be like, what are your hobbies? What do you cook? Because in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, that's a kitchen. That's an easy location. I have a kitchen. You have a kitchen. My business partner has a kitchen.
Right.
This will sort of maybe generate a story for us, because with on-camera stories, the logistics of all of the things that go into them are just so daunting. And I think especially for people who've never done it before. So I try to keep it simple. We really try to keep it simple. And so from there, like for instance, our latest project is a comedy. The actor who came to us, she had worked with us as a production assistant, and she thought she wanted a comedy. So I wrote her, also part of what we do is help build a campaign video, because very often actors need to raise the money to make these projects.
Okay.
So I'll write them a script that's for their online campaign video. So I wrote this little script for her that we shot, and I had her sort of being funny in it in this physical way, like falling out of the shot and just dropping things. And we discovered that she was really good at physical comedy. Like not only did she have good comic timing, but she was really game to do the physical stuff.
Okay.
And sort of look klutzy. So, which not everybody can do, believably.
Right. Yeah. It's great when you get somebody who can do that.
It's
and
harder
just
than it looks.
Really shine.
Yeah, to make it look real.
Mm-hmm.
So then I had this idea. Well, let's have her be klutzy. Maybe
That's so fun.
Maybe she's been. And then I thought maybe she's made a whole empire out of being a klutz. Like that she's a young woman who has a following from other young klutzy women just like her, who've always had, confidence problems. And she's turned it around into this empire called the Capable Klutz. So she has like an online magazine, and she's got a blog. And so she's become this very successful person based on the fact that she's a klutz. And of course, in the script, I have her, she's constantly hurting herself, and she's spilling coffee on herself, or she's knocking her head into something, or what. But then I was like, well, if she was like that when she was young, what was the other side of that? Who was the person who really got to her? And I was probably a very cool, successful, chic kind of a young woman.
Yes. This process is what we're going to do is very much like what you're doing right now.
But my synapses just happened based on the person themselves. Like I had no real idea about what I would do with her until I got to know her a little better and gave her sort of a test with that campaign video. And then all of the ideas started to come together.
Fantastic.
And it turned out really good. We're going to debut it actually with a little film festival we're putting together in June. So
that's great.
Yeah, so that's why I was saying to you before, I don't have a process, I guess. I just sort of think.
You just start asking the right questions.
Yeah.
Right? And there's so much baloney out there that can lead you towards asking really useless questions. Or
yes,
really
the card thing is so fascinating to me because that's brilliant.
We're gonna and I built it like after grad school. Like it turned out before I went to acting grad school.
So a long time, well, a couple of years ago now.
Yeah, well done. Good save. I didn't know what I was doing before grad school, and I really didn't. I was leading this really sort of like grindy New York actor life and really paying a lot of dues, but didn't really have the knowledge to really succeed, and I feel like that changed in grad school for sure. But this whole process that we're going to do is based on that, really about like learning what not to do and what's useless and what is just kind of like this performative, like method acting nonsense.
Yeah.
Really, that is most of which is kind of just a cover for the fact that you don't know what you're doing. It's like just a smoke screen to be like,
I always just sort of picked, and I was a picker and chooser of all the stuff.
Yes, as you should be. But I hope that you will find that as we get into this, you're going to be like, oh yeah, that's an important part of this. So the thing that's cool about what we're going to do, and for those of you who don't know, we are here to make a story happen out of nothing, just based on the psyche prompt that Jason is going to choose. And you are not a genre writer or creator. Normally the people that I get in here are like, it's wizards and there's laser beams and yeah, it's very, very genre centric. A lot of people with a lot of very high concept ideas, and that's not you. And I created this system to be useful to regular writers, so that if you just wanted to write a screenplay about life or people, that you could utilize this tool. And it's so clear now, and I feel like the Marvel movies really were like Lord of the Rings also very much was when you got a taste of really great screenwriting and really great acting and directing with the trappings of the genre around it. Because until then, it had kind of been like, well, we'll just have the genre or the effects be the star, and then we can sort of skimp on acting and story.
Right.
Because it's not about that. It's about lasers and explosions and dragons. And Lord of the Rings came along and was amazing. And then the Marvel movies started to really build all of their initial really great movies on great scripts and great actors. So you get all of the fun of the laser beams of the Iron Man, whatever, but it's still an awesome screenplay.
I wish that I thought more like that sometimes, because my storytelling tends to be ultra realistic and slice of life-ish, kitchen sink-ish, sort of based on the movies that were coming out when we were growing up, like, late 70s, 80s movies. I mean, I probably hearkened to them far too much in my storytelling.
Okay.
But to me, I always loved the stories with ultra relatable characters and some sort of heart. That was
yes, I know that very much about you, and I have a funny story that leads me to offer you an apology. In fact, you asked me a long time ago something that you were working on. You had a reading of it, and you gathered a bunch of people around the table for some feedback, and you invited me to join that. And I remember specifically doing the thing that now I know not to do, which is I tried to offer my impression of what it could be based on my aesthetic, instead of trying to help your aesthetic be the best that it could be. So I was like, I feel like this could be like really darker and kind of like twistier with like a lot more moral gray area and like snarky dialogue. And you were very much like, no, I really want to come from this place of like honesty and openness and heart. And then I learned more stuff and realized that that's actually not a very useful way to be a beta reader for somebody.
I don't recall that, but I appreciate whatever apology you felt was necessary.
It was a big piece of like my learning, and I always remembered it because it felt like it was a place where I really like a time where I really like didn't do the thing, or I didn't do it in a way that was really the most effective.
You know what's so funny about that? I mean, as storytellers, we all have a different proficiency, I feel. And I learned a while ago that mine, I know that I'm not really concerned with trying to be anything other than what I know I'm most capable of doing. I don't do things, just to do it a way that's never been done before, or to be particularly edgy, or whatever might sell these days. It's like what you were saying before. You've got to like figure out what is the lane that you're in, and what lane are you best driving in.
Yeah.
And I definitely know mine. I might try to take some chances with it once in a while, and certainly my partner John is helpful in that regard. I know where I feel confident in my storytelling, and I think that took a long time to figure it out, because I think a lot of us are trying to be everything for everyone, and you just can't be. And I'm not concerned with selling a script right now. I'm not, I'm concerned with what I do best and how I can do it better, how I can learn to do it better. I will never write like a sci-fi movie, most likely. I don't have that. That's just not my thing. It never really was.
Well, I think this is a perfect time to switch over to now choosing cards, because that's like a perfect segue into us actually making some selections.
I'm slightly nervous.
Yeah, you should be. It's going to be, the goal here is to...
Terrifying. Thank you.